Welcome back to Hodgepodge. Today, I am in the practice space of the popular upstate New York-based band Northwoods Wendigo. Hey guys, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's so great to meet all of you.
Us, man.
Yeah, it was great rocking out with you.
Yeah,
Can you all introduce yourselves for the people who are watching?
So down the line.
Yeah,
Down the line.
Well, I'm Kayla Jarvis. Been playing guitar since 5th grade. Loving it, you know. I've been friends with these guys for, these two members for 4 years, 5 years.
Oh,
and then these two guys for about a year now and just connected. It's magical in a way, you know.
Gotcha.
So.
Awesome. My name's Steven. I am the bass player, and I also sometimes play the dictator of the group when it comes to being the guy who has to be the asshole and say the things that none of us want to say but know are true. So I play that role as well. I've been playing bass since I was a young buck with this gentleman. We were taught by the same mentor, and we've been playing together collectively since we were probably 14. And then we met this gentleman when we were about 13, 14?
You were 14. I was
13. 14. Met this gentleman when we were about 14. Started an Oasis cover band, if you can believe it.
It started as that.
Started as an Oasis cover band, started writing originals, and then we developed into our own original band, and then fell off the face of the earth for God knows how many years. And then, weirdly enough, I came back to New York from Nashville, and I get together with these two gentlemen, and we started a band of our own. We didn't have a drummer, didn't have anything, just kind of tracking. And then these guys were kind of doing their own thing as well. So I was like, hey, why not a merger? So we merged the forces, and it's been going good since.
Oh, hell yeah.
Cool. And on vocals?
Yeah, I'm Ben Cunningham. I'm vocals and guitarist. I've been playing guitar for probably 4 years now, writing songs for 5. And yeah, it's been awesome hanging out with these guys. I've known Steve and, well, of course, my brother Andrew for my entire life pretty much. But yeah, just getting to know Mike and Kale, we probably got together like, 8 or 9 months ago. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we've been making magic ever since.
I'm Mike Germano, Michael, if you will. Rhythm guitar, mouth organ.
If you will.
Actually, no, I've been singing and playing guitar for probably going on 10 years this February. And yeah, basically been playing with him ever since then. He started playing before me, but he evolved into bass after a little while. And I'm just here to hold down the fort, write some songs, and enjoy life, right?
Mike's the rhythm machine.
Yeah.
I'm Drew. I've been playing drums for since I was about 7. I've been playing, and but I got my first set when I was 14, and like Steve said, met up with Steve and Mike, and made the band Johnny Armani, and we had a pretty good run with that.
We had a good run.
Yeah. And but then
for a bunch of young bucks trying to make it, we had a pretty good run.
But there was kind of a hiatus in music for a while, but then meeting Kale and Mike and everything, we started it up, and it kind of just felt right. Like when we played, like it just, I don't know, like I got the same kind of feeling I got with Mike and Steve, like
Way
just kind of
back
that.
when.
Yeah,
There's something there, you know.
It just
It's
clicked,
the
you know?
energy.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Why the name Northwoods Wendigo?
So we went through a couple of name changes, actually.
Freaky Otters.
We had the Freaky Otters.
The Gorbachevs.
I'm a big,
The
Gorbachevs.
Gorbachevs.
Gorbachevs I made as a joke one day and
Red
kind of
Grant.
kicked. But yeah, and then I was really into these James Bond novels. I still am, but you know, I was reading this James Bond novel, and Red Grant was one of the characters that stuck out. We were going to do that, and then I was reading a folklore, weird kind of stories on the internet about things around this area and Maine particularly. And I heard about the spirit of like the Wendigo. Some people call them skinwalkers, whatever. It never really like turned me on the whole story of it. Like it's obviously fascinating, but I've never been much into like delving into lore like that. But I just thought the basic concept was really interesting. of the Wendigo. And even artistically, I thought it was a cool concept that we could work with, kind of in cahoots with the name and the group, you know. And so it started as Wendigo, but then we found out some Swedish or like Germanic.
Damn Swedish metal.
They were a metal band.
They love the
It's always the Swedes.
They have the name Wendigo. So until they deteriorate, we will be known as Northwoods Wendigo.
Yes.
But yeah, Northwoods Wendigo. You know, we abbreviate it sometimes, but a lot of people refer to us as Wendigo. Our official title just evolved into that from my original idea of Wendigo.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So how long have you been playing for now?
We all ran into each other probably about
as a collective.
almost a year ago. Me and Cal and Steve had been playing together for over a year at this point, and I had been playing with Cal when Steve was down in Nashville for a solid year before that, maybe even 2.
As a collective, I would say, because there was a point in time where I was kind of jumping back and forth as me, Drew, and Ben here had a little band going on for a while I was doing my music project with these two. So together, collectively, I would say, because we did start collectively, and then there was another member in the band originally who we really didn't get much done. It was sort of more of a jam session every time. So once we sort of like prorated who was in the band, we've been playing together for since June, I would say.
Yeah.
Since June is when we really started playing as Northwoods Wendigo.
Gotcha. So there were a lot of lineup changes.
There were a lot of
we wouldn't
lineup
say
changes.
a lot, but yeah, there was definitely a lot of mergers and definitely
just a
certain
lot of
coming
different
and goings.
ideas. When you have a band this size, just like so especially when everybody's coming into it, each individual musician has in their mind what they want the music to sound like. And
we're trying to find the collective of it now.
What our
ideas
whole
together.
thing is we want to showcase each idea through our own sound.
Gotcha.
So, and we're coming from a lot of different learning curves too. I mean, like me and Mike never learned how to write notation. Cal's probably the most theoretical. He was taught theory. And then these guys are all feel. So I mean, it's a weird collaboration, but we're we're finding our momentum.
And our main thing is we kind of try not to rush things, you know, like let it fall into place. You know, there's no point in rushing something and being like, oh, that's okay.
Absolutely.
When you know it can be better and smoother or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So,
how would you describe your genre?
Rock and roll.
Foundation rock and roll, but it's got a modern twist. You know,
we
bring the ambience to it with the effects.
What I like to call it is post-dad rock.
Post-dad rock.
Like that kind of that sort of like music that died out after the mid '80s. Like we sort of homage that a lot. We homage the styles that kind of went under the radar due to other styles that came out and kind of killed them. Like we'll have some stuff that's funk, disco style, and then other breaks will be more in like the surf punk from the 90s surf punk type stuff. And then we have other songs that are very our own in the sense that they're really dissonant and really
heartfelt.
Really heartfelt.
You know, like
we
in a
do a lot
professional
of
sense, experimental rock.
If we were to name our genre, it would have to be experimental rock and roll.
Can you talk a little bit about the songs that you did today?
Yeah, sure thing.
Yeah, where to start?
We'll start off with the first one. You know, you wrote.
Yeah, this is why we go to the movies. I don't know. The writing process for me sort of just happens. Like I'll be playing something on guitar, just something simple, maybe 3 chords, and then working from that, sort of just stream of consciousness, lyrics, and I'll usually find out what the song's about after I've written it, and you come to these realizations of something you didn't know you had in your head because you didn't have the that sort of route to express it. So
you had a clearer head.
Yeah. So when I started playing guitar, I had written one song, Grasscatcher Anthem, and I didn't know what to do with it because I didn't have any instruments to play. The only instrument I really played was drums back then. And my friend taught me G, C, and D, and I just taught myself from there, and wrote a couple of tunes. Yeah, but with this is why we go to the movies. Going through the lyrics, like, I hope they like my style, and I could have sworn I seen on the banks of the mystic shapes in the distance. For the first one, it would be, just the expectation of how people are going to react to your art, to your expression, it's daunting, but it's not, it's something that I look forward to, the reactions that people are going to give, because I make my music for other reasons, and to express myself, to give honor to the music that I listen to and like get inspiration from. I get influences from bluegrass, the Everett Brothers and things like that, and I love listening to blues and stuff like that. Listening to Lead Belly and just getting a million different types of music at the same time, and then the way that comes out in your style is like miraculous. That's why we play so many different genres. We can play funk because I think we all understand that vibe.
We all kind of sink in. We sink into the understanding of like the concept of the genre.
Yeah, we've listened to enough music
and
to
understand. We can almost, like an actor can sort of like read a script and sink into that role. Like when we decide to write a song that skews a certain genre, we're really good at one, manipulating it so that it's more our sound, and two, being able to
cater to that genre.
Yeah, well, to homage it, to not to parody it, but to homage it, to give it the due credit it deserves, I guess.
What would you say are your biggest influences as far as bands?
As far as bands, you guys want to go down the line?
Yeah,
we got a lot of different.
Yeah, there's so many.
I mean,
we definitely have a lot of the jam band influence.
Each of us, our band influences sort of showcase through our playing.
Yeah, each person varies.
So, like, Kelly, you want to start it out?
I mean, I grew up Grateful Dead, Jerry Garcia, Fish, Wallflowers, Peter Tosh, so reggae, jam bands, psychedelic rock, but also, like, my mom got me into bluegrass and all that. So, kind of grew up, wanted to play banjo, so learned how to play banjo. I know how to play slide guitar, do the Allman Brothers. I'm really into Dwayne Allman's playing and all that. But really, I think my style represents a lot of, like, Jerry Garcia, Jimi Hendrix kind of feel a little sporadic, but a lot of modal movement and all that. So you just put feeling into it.
I definitely feel all that. It's funny when you were saying all that. I was like, I can totally see all that. I could see the Allman Brothers and Jimmy and everyone at the same time after listening to you play. What about you?
My main influences, since like I grew up, really a lot of bass players kind of evolve in either out of bass to guitar or into bass from guitar. When I first started playing, I wanted to play guitar, and this guy's father, who was our mentor, he gave me a guitar, and he's like, okay, we'll play this part the most comfortable you play. And I played with 2 fingers, and he tried to give me a pick, and I couldn't use a pick. So I was one of those few bass players who started playing bass as a bass player. So what I would always listen for in music was either runs, so like really repetitive pulsing, and urgency. Like my whole musical scape comes from urgency. Like, so I really like that hanger chords. I really like to go into something that's really transient and dissonant, and sort of immediately go into something that's more driving. My influences come from downbeat. Like, influences artists wise, I would say probably the Dead Kennedys, Dead Milkmen, the Kinks, and recently my biggest influence has been this band called Foals, Foals, and they are incredible. Hodgepodge, you should all check them out. But they're incredible. Their layering style and the urgency in their playing is just it's up my alley.
For me, again, I get it from a lot of different places. I'd say Nick Drake and the Evett Brothers for the acoustic sort of stuff that I started out with, and then like the raw driving power of like the Stooges and things like that is something that I love. Lately, I've been listening to a band called Bronco, and I feel like they have the perfect recipe. Whatever they're doing is amazing.
That band is that's another thing. We probably shouldn't be shouting out other bands, but Bronco is the perfect recipe. Everybody in the world should listen to that band.
Yeah, they're incredible. But also a lot of like psychedelic rock, Tame Impala, of course. I love them, and Temples and Gum, like all the branch off bands from them, and also Still Corners, Melody's Echo Chamber, and then a lot of blues. Like I've been listening to a lot of blues and a lot of classical music, especially lately, and just listening to the progression of music through the years and the people who are honoring the past and like creating a future for music. It's incredible.
So for me, well, I guess down to the core of it, there's a lot of Beatles and Beach Boys, because they were the first groups that actually taught me how to use your instrument and your voice as an extension of that, and to combine a lot of different ideas and sounds, and to get everybody on board with creating not just one singular piece, but an entire, collaboration. Which, in turn, that, evolved me into a lot of different things, like he was saying, psychedelic rock and experimental rock. I started listening to a lot of Animal Collective, and even the older guys, King Crimson and so on.
They're coming back, touring soon.
So, yeah, I heard about that. And so, I got into a lot of that, a lot of the experimental rock and roll, but I realized there was a very solid similarity between all of these fantastic artists that could create something very new and, full. And I noticed they all had that basic rock and roll element to them, where they always kept the bases of your drums, your guitars, and your basic songwriting structure, per se. And its layering is the key to all of that. One of the greatest things Animal Collective taught me was the melody lies within the rhythm. So I pulled a lot from just original rock and roll, but then, following that rock and roll to when they started going from a basic small band to an experimental group to everything else. That opened my mind to a lot more. So I suppose my influence would just be anything that's really striving to push the boundaries and create something not just new, but enjoyable, and something that will get people to
something that people can get on board with. That's what we wanted to do, I guess.
So you actually just dropped an EP.
We did. We a 4-song EP we recorded with S&S Studios, another studio location out here in Auburn, who have, to be honest, I've been to Nashville, and I worked with some producers out of there.
And these guys are
these guys are some of the best producers. I don't know why they're still working in Auburn, but we thank God they are. Josh Swagler and Gabe Solomon of S&S Studios. If you ever need anything recorded, these guys are pros, and they will master for you. And it just came out better than we could have ever expected.
Got a good ear,
They're great guys.
So.
And we just dropped our midnight. So today we just dropped our single, and the EP is just released as well.
EP's just released. It's self-titled.
Yeah, January 20th we dropped the single.
January 20th. And
January 20th of 2017
we dropped our first single ever.
Yeah.
Going back to Belton, baby.
Going back to Belton.
And 27th is the EP drop.
Yeah.
So if we want to check out your single, if we want to check out your EP, where do we go?
You can find our single and our EP single on YouTube, Spotify. You can also find it on Bandcamp and Reverb Nation as of right now.
We're working on Spotify right now.
We're working on Spotify.
We've submitted the video and or the MP3 file, but they have to run
as of right now. We're
make sure that
Reverb Nation, Bandcamp, and SoundCloud would be the best places.
We will be advertising select singles through our YouTube account as well. So.
Great.
In collaboration with a couple of videographers we know and stuff like that, we'll have hopefully more to come from you. And
yeah, we have
and
a lot
also,
in the lot of fires in the oven.
A couple friends that have a couple videos of us that professionally done. So
cool.
There'll be more to come.
Northwoods Wendigo, if you want to check them out, as always, all of the links will be in the video description below. If you liked this video, I hope you give it a thumbs up, check out my other videos, and subscribe.
Hey.
Hey, come on. Subscribe. What are you doing?